many people remember in the early 80s when this terrifying disease came out that was 100% deadly? It was first called GRIDS, and then they changed the name to HIV. And they say that HIV turns into AIDS. But you know, in the 80s, no one knew. This was completely new to everyone. This wasn't like anything we'd ever seen before. Ever. I mean, when you got it, you're gonna die. That was absolutely a fact. And a lot of people would get it, didn't know until later on, and so they would die rather quickly. And you know, I've compared this situation to that, but people don't seem to understand what I'm saying, so I'm trying to, you know, especially on Facebook, I'm trying to wake those people up, but goodness gracious, it's like pulling teeth. Let me show you that this is proof, is 100% proof that this situation that we're dealing with right now has nothing to do with the virus and everything to do with the mass hysteria. In the early 80s and even to the 90s, and I've even seen people ask this recently, if you can get HIV from shaking hands or being in the same room, hugging, or even just being in the same room. People didn't know back then. People really thought you could be in the same area, it could be spread by somebody breathing on you. And there's even an article out by USA Today how homosexuals from the 80s saying that they're feeling like exactly the same thing going on right now, but worse. They're saying this is worse. They're saying the fear and how people are acting is worse than what they had to endure back then. And I absolutely agree with them. This is insanity. Happening on a large scale. Neighbors turning against neighbors. Families against families. It's insane. The 24-hour coverage. The Johns Hopkins counter rate. One more person got it. 20 more people got it. Could you imagine if we would have had internet back then and you were getting, you know, an alert every single time somebody was diagnosed or died of AIDS? You'd be getting messages all day long. 770,000 people died last year of HIV/AIDS. That was just last year. This is 2020. And you know, see, people are like, but you can't compare this to AIDS. Oh, yes, I can. And this is why people today say you can't compare this to AIDS. Or HIV. Let's say HIV. Because AIDS, a lot of people die of AIDS. AIDS technically is just when your autoimmune system completely just fails after any type of situation. So you could, you know, if you're in like a third world, people of cancer technically succumb to AIDS. AIDS is an acquired immune deficiency disorder, meaning that your immune system just completely fails. And doctors are finally starting to say that HIV technically doesn't, HIV and AIDS are not connected. HIV, you die of HIV. I mean, I'm not going to get into that. That's just too confusing. HIV makes you have AIDS. Cancer can make you have AIDS, acquired immune deficiency syndrome, meaning your immune system could no longer fight the HIV, or your immune system could no longer fight the cancer. But because they ran the AIDS thing out so much, it's now just like a buzzword and we can't use it like that, although that's technically scientifically what it is. But listen, in the 80s, and even in the 90s, I mean, we seriously, even in the 90s, did not yet know exactly how you could get HIV. I remember doing one of my very first science projects on HIV/AIDS. And even at that time, in the, I guess it was the early 90s maybe, it was before we had internet for sure, we still didn't know if people could get HIV from kissing. I'm sure many of you remember this. Again, I mean, we didn't have the internet, so maybe some research had been done that proved it, but in public, we did not know that. We didn't know if you could get it after eating on somebody else's utensils. Like you go to a restaurant and then you eat after, maybe they use the utensils. I'm serious, like that's how bad it was. I know some people either forgot or they're just too young to remember this. We did not know for a fact how you got it. In the beginning, yeah, they said it was because if you have homosexual sex, men, and then they realized, well, that doesn't really make sense because we have all these women getting it. And then, oh my gosh, we have all these married people, and then holy crap, we have kids. How did these kids get it? And so everybody was freaked out. They had no idea. None. I mean, and this was 100% deadly. You get it, you're dying. Okay? Did we shut down the country? The world? It was on every continent. Did we shut everything down? No, we didn't. Did people walk around with gloves and masks and looking like we were in some type of plague? No. If there was ever to be a time to do that, that would have probably been the best one. That would have honestly been quite legitimate because we had no idea. They had ideas after, a few years went on. They're like, okay, we think that you can only get it by direct blood contact. But then they were like, okay, well, how are these kids getting it? Come to find out, those kids had blood transfusions. It was in the blood. And that's the thing. It was years and years and years. Did people live their lives in fear? In shutting down businesses? Think about this, y'all. We had no idea. People were dropping dead of this. You'd go from rather healthy to really bad, really quick. And for those that don't remember, you've got to think about it like this. This absolutely is a comparison, and it should be. People need to look at it like this. Did we freak the crap out, crash the economy, have all these unemployed people, stop visiting your family and friends, just act like complete crazy lunatics? Did we have people telling on their neighbors for going to a party or having a party in their backyard? Think about this. We did not know. I know people are going to say, but it's because you now know that, okay, yeah, you can't get it. But then we did not know. We did not know if just sharing a drink, you could transfer it. We didn't know. What if you drink after somebody at a bar? What if you drink it after somebody at a party? And early on, I'm sure some of y'all remember, there were kids that had HIV that had to be pulled out of school because people were terrified, yes. But did everybody get all terrified? No, it's because the kid that, people in the community end up finding out they had it. But did we make these people walk around with badges of HIV, I'm HIV positive, or, have a paper to go to work that you are clean and you don't have this? No. So every single thing that these Anthony Fauci, Birx, all these people are doing is they have hidden agendas. It's a fact. It doesn't matter what the agendas are, because I don't want y'all getting caught up in that. I want you to think rationally. Rationally. Even if we have 1% of people passing away because of this coronavirus, it's nothing compared to what we saw in the 80s and 90s. And even still today, it's kind of, it's like 100% death rate. Now, yes, you live for a lot longer, but for at least 2 decades, y'all, it was like, oh crap, they've got HIV and they're gonna die. When you got that test, you knew you didn't have long. But this is like almost every single person is surviving. Yeah, there's a few people that are high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, all of these things. And if they catch any virus, they're likely going to end up in the hospital. That's a fact. But did we close down the entire world? Of course we didn't. Did we not visit our family and friends? Did we have to ask them where they had been? Oh my gosh, did you touch something that maybe an HIV patient had touched? No, we didn't know. We didn't force HIV patients to wear, like a hat that says I'm HIV positive or a scarlet letter. Do you see how insane this is? But people are going along with this because they are the hysteria brought on not by the virus, by the media, by the CEOs of these companies that are making a whole lot of money from your fear. Now every time somebody gets a call for sneezes, people, oh my God, what are you doing? It's so strange. It's bizarro world. And for you people that are too young to remember, please look into it. I mean, what? That's literally what happened, y'all. We did not make people force quarantine because they may have came in contact. Oh, hey, did you have sex last night? Oh, you better force quarantine until we can get you a test. Think about that. Think about it. Oh, did you have a blood transfusion? You're not going anywhere until we test you 3 times and you're negative 3 times. Did we do that? No, of course we didn't. Because they truly were trying to find what was going on rather than create a massive panic and make people think, oh, you're going to kill someone if you go to church. If this was truly a completely unknown, worse than HIV type of virus, Walmart would be closed, Target would be closed, Costco, Sam's Club, Home Depot, every single one of them would be absolutely shut down. The post office, y'all know I've talked about that, the post office would be shut down because, oh my gosh, we don't know. But that's not what's going on, and they know it. They know it. But they know that if they flash that bright red number on their screen enough times, you're like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Every time you get on your phone, you see coronavirus, corona. That's all they talk about. Do you see the lunacy? And it doesn't even, let's say it has a 10% death rate. Let's go way out there. Let's say 10%. HIV had a 100% death rate. There's no comparison in what we saw in the 80s. This is silly. Silly. And most of you have fallen for it, hook, line, and sinker, without any rational thoughts, without any logic, any type of research, for the most part, most of you. I'm saying this because I'm putting on Facebook. I know most of my normal viewers on YouTube know this. But seriously, you are turning in your neighbors for being too close to someone. The parks are closed down, for goodness sakes. There is no children getting this. Yet they are closing down the parks and shutting down the schools. Think about this. And you're allowing it. They're sociopaths. They're going to do whatever they want as long as you let them. If you say, no, this is BS. Okay, I'll take my chances getting the flu and I might die from it. 40,000 people have died in the U.S. from January till now of pneumonia. Pneumonia is contagious. Do we make pneumonia people get sheets of paper that say they've been vaccinated, they've been this, they've been that, cured from it? Do we make them do they make normal people, oh, but you might get somebody else sick because you have pneumonia. Oh, you have walking pneumonia? Oh, okay. That happens every day. There's people that have walking pneumonia everywhere right now that are at Walmart while you're there. That's a fact. Are you yelling at in their face saying, oh, you must hate your grandparents. You must hate this person. No, you're not. Yeah, I mean, it's if you know you have walking pneumonia and you go around somebody immune compromised, that's on you. But to just tell people that they could be a carrier of it. You don't know. You don't know if you went to Walmart and picked it up and then you're going to give it to me. That's not how viruses work. When are people going to get that through their heads? That what they're telling you, turn off your cable, turn off all of it. And if you really are still concerned, do your own research. But honestly, all you need to do is look around. Do you see people dropping dead? In China, it was kind of concerning because people were dropping dead. But we don't have the truth about what happened in China. I mean, some of us do. But let's not get into that. We don't. Let's say we don't. We're not seeing that here. So yet, why are people acting like that? Back in the 1700s or maybe 1800s, I don't know. When scurvy, when people were getting scurvy, these Navy sailors and stuff, they were getting maybe not Navy, it was probably earlier than that. They thought it was because of a virus or a bacteria. I guess it was whenever. That's what they thought scurvy was. Come to find out, all you had to do was drink some orange juice. Eat some oranges. It was a vitamin C deficiency. And people were dying. A vitamin C deficiency. See, they can make you think whatever they want you to think. If they say it enough and scary enough, and oh my gosh, we've had 10 more of our local blah 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 die today. And they don't show obituaries. They don't show nothing, y'all. I'm not even going to go into that. Just think about it. Even without all that, okay, let me not scratch that. Without all of that, think about what happened in the 80s and 90s. Did you stop going to the movies? Did you stop going out to eat? Did you stop going around people? Because, they might have had sex with some, or no, because we didn't even know if it was sex. We figured it was through sexual transmission, but we weren't sure. What if that person is gay and they have HIV? Yeah, there were a few people doing that, but were they living in fear? Were they locking down their businesses? Please think about this. They're playing you, and you're letting them. You're letting them. And by not sharing this information, you're letting them. This is... It's hysteria driven. It's media panic. That's what it is. It's government panic. They're having every single governor is having a news town hall, whatever, every single day. It's silly. It's so silly. I've truly never seen people act like this. And I'm sure most of you haven't either. You know how many people have said, I hope you die from this, to me? Because of how I'm trying to rationally explain this. And say that you're not going to tell me I can't. Especially, I can't go to church. That's what you're telling people. Yeah, they are throwing pastors under the bus, making them look like complete sociopaths, to where other pastors don't even have the backbone to stay open because you might kill somebody. Oh yeah. Do you want to kill somebody? Are you, as a pastor, going to say that unless people get tested before they walk in your doors for anything, they're not coming in? Because that's what you would have to. You have to take this out to the most logical conclusion. Pneumonia is contagious. But yet we are not testing people before they walk into a business or before they do. Do you see how ridiculous this is? Hundreds of thousands of people every year die of pneumonia in the U.S. And it's contagious. And it affects many thousands of kids die from it every year. This is not rational. I'm not going to get into the agendas and all that. I just want you to, it's not rational. And you can come to your conclusions about the agendas, because it's quite obvious now. But seriously, it's not rational, and they've got you completely just out of insane. I worked in the emergency room for years. Went home, normal. I don't know who I came in contact with every single day. That is what people come in bleeding, dying. I jump on that stretcher and I'm doing CPR. I don't know what's wrong with them. I'm not going to say, oh my gosh, they might have coronavirus. They might have pneumonia. They might have HIV. No. You just do it. You live your life. That's what you do. And that's coming into close contact with bodily fluids. That's why it boggles my mind to see people acting like that. I mean, it didn't matter. If you're gay, straight, black, white, purple, you needed help. I'm putting an IV in you. I'm doing CPR. And that's how so many of us are. And that's why I'm telling you, that's why you can look at videos of all of these first responders and they're just like chilling, like next to each other, because they know in their hearts, even if they're not saying it outwardly, they know that it's silly. It's just straight up silly. I mean, whenever I was pregnant, I had a patient that was meningitis, that had bacterial meningitis. I had patients that had chickenpox. That's quite dangerous when you're pregnant. But, I mean, that's the risk we took, but also I knew that God would watch over my babies. You know? And I think that's a big aspect. I'm not going to go on that tangent right now because I don't want people to be like, oh, she's one of the crazy kooks. Well, I mean, if that's what you want to call me, whatever. But if you're going to live in this, but that's why they're able to do it right now. Because people have lost all touch with reality, with God, with everything. And so it's so easy to frighten them. It's irrational. Even back then when we still did not know how exactly HIV was transmitted, we still knew that it was completely immoral and irrational to make HIV patients, people that had HIV, like wear a badge on them. Like that didn't we wouldn't do that. Yeah, there were mean-spirited people that treated some people like really terrible. Absolutely. Absolutely. But in general, I'm talking about general because it's mostly everybody that have gone completely wackadoo right now. Wearing masks everywhere they go, wearing gloves, and just ridiculous. What the funniest thing is, oh my gosh, that McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell, Popeyes, all these places are still open. And people are so concerned about coronavirus. You're drinking a 12-pack of soda every single day. You've got high blood pressure, diabetes. You're eating half a pizza. But you're concerned about coronavirus. I mean, really? That's honestly what's the most hilarious thing to me. I mean, people die of heart attacks, their high blood pressure, diabetes, all of these things every single day. But yet people still eat. Because they say, I'd rather die eating good food. And that's your choice. No, should we go up to overweight people and say, you can't eat that because you're going to die? And then you're going to pass that on to your kids. That would be bringing this out to the I can't even say it, to the illogical conclusion. That's what you would have to do. Oh, your kids are going to see how unhealthy you're eating, and then they're going to start unhealthy eating, and then you're going to kill your kids. Are we going to go around saying that to people now? I know there are some people that do that, but are we? Do you see the ridiculousness of this? It's insane. Wake up. They're playing us. And it doesn't matter what for. They're playing us, and they're going to continue playing us as long as we keep acting like sheep and not sharing information like this, not standing up, not open. You own a small business? Go open it. Go live from inside there and say, I'm done with your manipulation. I'm done with it. You're manipulating the public into irrational fear. And you're not alone. There's doctors and nurses and senators now speaking out about how insane this is. I know people like the crowd mentality, the herd. Oh, well, everybody else is doing it, so I guess I'm gonna do it. Please don't be like that. That's how we're getting into this situation. I don't give a crap what other people are doing. And if you want to act irrational, act irrational. If you want to wear a mask, go ahead. But don't tell me I have to. Don't tell me that pastors have to shut their doors. When liquor stores, all these other stores of all these big CEOs have to be open. When all these ladies that have worked their butts off to have their hair cutting, cosmetology, whatever, and they're all shut down right now. It's crap. Wake up. Y'all have a wonderful day. Like, share, and subscribe.